Smoke and Mirrors is an artwork commissioned by the Fleet Science Center of San Diego, which allows 2 to 6 visitors at a time to enter into a shared virtual environment. Participants navigate through a series of maze-like environments that explore the shifting ways in which the tobacco industry constructs cultural images and the social environment to maximize usage of its product. Participants attempt to escape the messages that have made tobacco usage desirable and acceptable, even as a growing body of knowledge has increasingly shown the deleterious effects that its consumption has upon the body. Each visitor first has their face three-dimensionally scanned and affixed to an avatar constructed from an isolated biological system. A network of computers connects each user into the shared environment, and a simple interface allows for control of one's movement through the mazes. The environments are taken from several significant eras in the modern history of tobacco consumption. During the 40s and 50s, tobacco usage is shown to be a normal and desirable part of white American middle-class family life. After the Surgeon General's report, tobacco usage is shown to be a badge of individualism and rebellion. Our contemporary moment demonstrates the economic condition of the convenience store industry and product placement as the means for positioning its consumption by the target audience of teens and young adults. The museum operator collects 3D face scans of up to 6 participants for each Smoke and Mirrors experience. These faces are sent to each interactive station and affixed to the virtual characters.
Confirm registration. The deploying slider controls your movements.
The button can select different views. Welcome. Each of you will take a biological system through environments created from various cultural residues. Recent countermeasures have been employed against these artifacts. Your experience will help us to determine your effectiveness.
The Flintstone! Where it comes?
This is the carousel of image normalization. Move to the panels to see if you can discover a way out of the subterfuge that made product usage acceptable.
Cigarette for the beginning is a symbolic act. I'm no longer my mother's child. I'm tough. I am an adventurer. I'm not square. As the force from the psychological symbolism subsides, the pharmacological effect takes over to sustain the habit. Find your way around the discarded images of contrived individuality and rebellion that were developed after the Surgeon General's health warnings.
13 to 14-year-old boys.
Direct advertising appeal to the younger smoker.
Replacement smokers.
Try to tap the emerging independence and self-fulfillment of women.
The maze of product placement and identity branding position the product squarely in the gaze of the youth consumer.
Automotive supply items. Automotive supply items.
Thank you for your participation. Over the course of your experience, you have seen how an emergent social self-consciousness and deleterious biological effects has caused the mutation of cultural forms to create new avenues of infestation. Your participation is key to its survival.
The creation of Smoke and Mirrors took place over a 2-year period. The process began when the Fleet Science Center approached me and described an opportunity through a new program from the California Arts Council and the California Department of Health to commission artists in diverse media to address smoking in teens and young adults. This looked to me to be an interesting opportunity to further develop my aesthetic interests in multi-user location-based virtual environments, focused on a forum in which the audience would consist of a large number of users that have a developed literacy in interactive computer graphics through their experiences with computer gaming. I wanted to work with and against particular expectation that genres of computer gaming had established within its user base, extending and challenging these expectations in both the narrative form and with the visual and aesthetic vocabulary of the piece. It was also an opportunity to continue the development of my public artworks that work with particular contextualizing forums engaged with issues of broader social and cultural consequence. After determining some rough parameters of the project, I then set out to develop the software, the physical environment, and the content over a period of about a year and a half. At the core of the software is a rendering engine, NetImmerse. This allowed us to use PCs with GeForce 4 cards as the rendering platforms. I worked with a couple of programmers, first Ryan McKinley, who had worked with me on the Mikasa project, and then Craig Donner, who wrote all of the final software, to develop the approach to creating the multi-user client-server architecture. The piece uses a central server to keep track of each person's location and the state of the environment. Each user has their own scene rendered and controlled by their own computer. Users' views in the environment are specific to their own avatar location, but from any number of cameras that we have set up. This viewpoint choreography is a further development of montage strategies that I've been developing which combine cinematic and gaming vocabularies. The modeling of the world was done in 3D Studio Max. Wes Middleton and Chris Berg were the other primary participants on the team, and both made great contributions in creating the full gamut of digital media content, including modeling, animation, imaging, video, and audio production. The power and limitations of the underlying rendering engine necessitated many inventive strategies for creating the type of scripted, interactive environment that I wanted. For instance, Wes developed an approach to creating dynamic, interactive scene geometry through using vertex animations and large numbers of object morph targets. This approach made for an environment that took best advantage of the control offered by hand modeling with the dynamic response that procedural animation provides. In the development of artworks, I always try and create an environment in which the piece develops through a responsive engagement with the medium. Working with something as technically complex as this required that we developed a higher level application for choreographing each scene. We developed an application called the Scene Editor to create a continuously extensible environment for organizing each scene's interactive and temporal structure along with its digital media assets. The continued development of computer gaming has made both the underlying technology more powerful and inexpensive. It has developed an increasingly sophisticated cultural form. It continues to lead us to a place where distinctions between forms such as cinema, gaming, architecture, and sculpture collapse and reform into new types of cultural experiences.